Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Defense Ecosystem Podcast, where we explore global security phenomena and examine Finnish companies who bring solutions to global security problems. My name is Valtteri Vuorisalo, and I'm the Professor of Practice for National Security and Security Policy at Tampere University. In this episode, we will be talking about defense technology, innovation, and its impact to our local ecosystem. Joining me in the discussion are Member of European Parliament, Dr. Mika Aaltola, and the CEO of Saab Finland, Christian Tornivaara. Mika, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I know you've written about flows and flow security, where the movement correlates with power, and such movements is people, for example, maritime movements and information. How do you see this flow landscape evolving in the current geopolitical climate?
Well, the key topic right now in Finland is the Arctic. And Russian flows, there's two types of them. One goes through the Baltic Sea. It is vitally important for Russia, but Baltic Sea is vitally important also for the Baltic Sea states who belong to NATO, all of them other than Russia. And then there's the other flow that maintains a Russian red-hot war, and that's the northern flow from Kola Peninsula to the northern Atlantic. And both of these are important. And besides Russia, participating in this theater is China, of course, because it has globally operating flow systems. One of the key topics that we have been focusing at the Parliament is the shadow fleet of Russia. What it is actually doing, how to sanction the shadow fleet that transports most of the Russian energy, oil, LNG, to the global markets. But one key question right now is the kind of the hybrid uses of that shadow fleet, because they might be also transporting drones very deep into the European waters. So we don't know what Russia is scheming. So we are at the stage zero right now on the scale of escalation. And the zero means that we are living peaceless, restless times where uncertainty prevails when it comes to what exactly Russia is doing with its shadow fleet. Is that actually turning into a fleet that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, that's a great question or observation. And I love the point on the drones, but let's stick to the Arctic for a second. This is a fundamental shift in the role of the Arctic and the flows from the Arctic. Does that then require a new strategy, a new way of thinking about the Arctic?
Well, in the NATO strategy, there has always been key emphasis area, and that's the Iceland, Norway, UK gap. And that's the guardian of the access to the northern Atlantic. So geostrategically, it is an extremely important place. Now, when Finland, with US and Canada, are supplying Arctic military icebreakers, and the key then is what those icebreakers are going to do. But it clearly is a telltale sign that something is happening, and we have to kind of cover also the geopolitical aspect of the picture. In Finland, the emphasis has always been on the kind of a scientific side of cooperation in the Arctic. But now we have to kind of update our dusty strategies in order to understand what actually the geopolitics of the region is. So it's becoming more and more geopolitical. So we are climbing also the ladder up in order to match the Russian and Chinese challenges and threats up there on the top of the world. And for Finland, that is also a new front that we have to cope with and manage. And we are doing that with NATO with US, Canada, and also with Denmark. Denmark is investing hundreds of millions of euros on the security of Greenland for known reasons. But right now it seems that we are approaching a moment where there's kind of a collaboration taking shape, and the Finnish deal with US is actually part of that cooperative turn right now. We all know Trump's talk about Greenland and territorial expansion of US. But do you need to actually territorially expand when you can collaborate with partners who have resources? And there also European Union is one key factor, because it has resources, at least we think it has resources. So it is part of the game. So we can talk about European North, we can talk about NATO's far north. And there's also opportunities for Finnish companies, because we have the know-how on the icebreakers. Most of world's icebreakers are actually produced, designed, manufactured in Finland. Now, well, of course, those were meant for peaceful times to cut ice, but they have to be now equipped with sensors, with defensive gear, with also capabilities that are military. And that's something new. Finland actually stands in a new frontier when it comes to how to match the Russian and Chinese challenge up there, how to defend Svalbard Islands, for example. Very difficult question. It has always been a puzzle for NATO, a low-hanging fruit, waiting for Russian and Chinese actions. Now we have to think about that question, and also how to guard the gap, the access to the Northern Atlantic. And that brings the US to the game. Canadians are there because they are an Arctic superpower. And Finns, we don't have harbors on the Arctic, but we know historically what the Arctic means, and the defense of northern Finland, northern Norway are closely intertwined as well.
Absolutely. So new types of thinking are needed, and especially from a new type of threat or a new presence in the flow, which are drones, and their utilization for military purposes, but also for hybrid purposes. How do you see that game evolving?
Well, we have seen now incidents around major airports in Northern Europe. The European North has woken up to this challenge. There's incidents, Russians are kind of knocking at our gates, and they know to knock at the right gates as well. I think at this point they are very interested on the infrastructure that supports Ukraine. So that involves Poland, Germany, Denmark, that has been a very active and effective supporter of Ukraine. So Russians are actually preparing something. This is the phase 0 of the escalation ladder. So we have to know first what is the challenge, what capabilities they have. And they have, when it comes to drones, they have capabilities that perhaps are a little bit difficult for us to match.
Yeah.
Ukraine is the number 1 in the world. But Russia is close behind because they have been in the laboratory for 3.5 years, evolving their systems to match the Ukrainian innovations. Now we have to kind of gear up our game, and happily enough, and luckily enough, we have the Ukrainians on our side. So kind of cooperating with them, developing drone capabilities with them, and also understanding what Russians are actually, what assets they have, what they are developing with Chinese companies, systems that might be something that we haven't seen in the West yet.
Exactly.
So we have to now leap ahead. No baby steps anymore. Now we have to be ready for something much bigger. It is a little bit unknown and it is constantly evolving. So how to be resilient against that type of threat actor? It is difficult, yes, but as I said, luckily enough, we have also experienced together with the Ukrainians the Russian challenge, what they have been producing with the Chinese and with the Iranians. My fear is when it comes to the escalation ladder, that after 0 there comes the stage 1. And Russians, if we are weak enough and our responses are not something that would deter Russia, then they are going to escalate. And what they do is they use drones as well as missiles without actually crossing the border militarily. And at that point, we cannot be naive. We are talking about the drone wall and about shooting down. European Parliament yesterday voted on shooting down of airborne threats.
Yeah. So you mentioned China there, and who's collaborating with Russia, and China is also a source of drones that have been utilized in Europe. But now there's a pressing need, I understand, for Europe to increase its sovereignty and autonomy, also in the domain of drones. How can Europe play a role in producing sovereign drones, and how is the Parliament taking action in that?
Well, Parliament, what it can, as lawmaker, I cannot influence the situation right now. That's for the Commission and the Council to do. As a lawmaker, I can influence things years from now. So we can change the regulation, we can free up spaces for innovation. We can cut down, for example, the red tape and deregulate military movements across border military cooperation in Europe. That's what Parliament can do, and that has a lasting impact then years from now. So resources, i.e. money.
Yeah.
The carrot has to be there for companies, because when it comes to military field, then they cannot sell the gear if there is no carrot there in the first place to cause them to innovate in areas that are needed. So political decisions have to be taken. The Chinese challenge, well, that's a tricky one, because China, of course, can develop drones. Everybody who has been buying drones, like
you have, yeah,
yes, knows that China has attractive options. They are cheaper. They are good with artificial intelligence. So you can have a Chinese drone that can do things, for example, when it comes to producing nice images around you, immersive images. China has that. They have monopoly on kind of the consumer market right now. But of course, we have US. We have companies in Europe that have been evolving with the American ecosystem. And they used to have the monopoly. 20 years ago, Americans were the ones who actually were using globally drone systems. They have the Global Hawk system, for example, so they can fly anywhere in the world. They have situational awareness. In Afghanistan, they used to have that. On top of Iran, they currently, I'm sure, are running operations. So it's not only satellite-based; it is also drone-based. So they have a huge advantage when it comes to the size and the complex systems. But China is operating on the level that is tinier, but is extremely lethal. For example, in Ukraine, so you can currently buy. You can go to a department store in Helsinki and buy a drone that can actually drop a grenade. But of course, that's not what average people are thinking when they are making the
Hopefully not.
consumer decisions.
Hopefully not.
But it opens up also domestic and internal security challenges.
Oh yeah, let's focus on that a little bit, because there's been technology has been, in a sense, in the past, but we've woken up to its political aspects. The case of Huawei and 5G and all of that have dominated the discussion. But if we focus on the civilian aspect of drones and the data gathering capabilities that they have, as you mentioned, and it's not a monopoly that China has, but a good market share.
Well, on the cheaper side, they have a monopoly.
Yeah. But if we suddenly see civilians buying loads and loads of these technologies, should we be concerned about that in a similar way that we have been with Huawei?
Well, yes. Of course we should. Yesterday it was revealed that there was a plot to attack a prime minister in Europe. Jihadist radicalists were thinking about a drone attack on a prime minister. It would be relatively easy to carry out. The problem when it comes to policing and counter-terror activities in this respect is that it's difficult to detect drones because they are, your usual consumer drones. So the radio spectrum is filled with different hobbyists. So it is very difficult to detect there who are the terror actors. And Russians might be also covering their activities by the sheer fact that radio frequency is so much in use. So how to kind of pinpoint the Russian activities among thousands of radio signals going back and forth to a drone. So they camouflage their activities among that heavily used frequency. Then, of course, you can use drones that have artificial intelligence, so you don't need to have a radio contact with the drone. It can do independently stuff, and it can come back to the point of origin very easily. So we are facing a challenge that requires quite a lot of new sensors, radars. The drone wall is a little bit, let's say, hyperbolic concept. It sounds very fascinating and appealing that let's have a wall or dome. But when it comes to the actual thinking, we have to have multi-layered sensor system that can detect the threat actors, kind of finding a needle in the haystack problem. And then how to shoot them down. We cannot use complicated, complex, extremely expensive systems like Patriot systems to shoot down a very cheap drone. We need to have other types of weapon systems as well. So that of course by itself is a carrot already to the European manufacturers and companies. This finding the needle in the haystack, the sensor systems, anti-drone systems. So on top of that we could of course add the carrot. Whoever comes with the most efficient system gets rewarded. Kind of adapting the American model that they have been using, for example, in the new space. If a company manages to go into the low-level orbit with a cost that is fraction of the very expensive shuttle system that the Americans used to have, then they are rewarded. Elon Musk was rewarded.
Yeah.
That was kind of a part of his story, being rewarded, but also serving American geostrategic interest. What is the European geostrategic interest? And those carrots, they need to be very well calculated and placed on top of the market so they attract innovations.
Yeah. You mentioned money, but if we look at how Europe can build its drone capabilities going forward and in the future, what are the main steps that need to be taken? You mentioned the money required for innovation and as a reward, but is there other things that we can do?
Well, deterrence aspect, of course, is clear here. It seems to be now a consensus that you shoot them down.
Yeah.
If you infringe the airspace of NATO and the European Union, you shoot them down. But the key question that Russians are thinking, is there anything beyond that? Because deterrence by denial, deterrence by retaliation, those dimensions need to be there as well. So how to shoot the places where those drones are sent, or missiles in the future perhaps are sent. And then you have the kind of cross mental barriers. We have been on a mode of de-escalation and escalation management for 3.5 years. So kind of avoiding anything that might upset too much Russians. But those mental barriers, they shouldn't be there because Russians are abusing them and testing us. And if there's a vacuum, they feel it. It is as easy as that.
Yeah.
So we should not give them that conclusion that there is a vacuum.
Mika, this concludes our time together. A huge thank you for joining the conversation.
Well, thank you.
Christian, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome to the episode.
Thank you, Valtteri, for your kind invitation. Really happy to be here. How are you today?
I'm feeling very well. Thank you very much. Christian, you've been appointed as the CEO of Saab Finland in 2024. How is Saab Finland positioning itself in the Finnish defense ecosystem?
It's quite a large question because we are doing a lot. We have started to invest in Finland about 8 years ago, and we started from research. We have a huge collaboration with many research operators in Finland, especially with Aalto University, where we have a very large research collaboration. Soon after that, we also started doing product development and development work here in Finland. And lately we have started also our production for our Finnish products here in Finland. And for all of that, we have a lot of collaborators in our network and different kind of stakeholders doing research collaboration for us, doing development work for us. And for our production, the supply chain is also very Finnish. So we have, I would say, vast and very different kind of effects to Finnish ecosystem.
Well, huge, and they span for a long time. So you've been here for quite some time, and it sounds like Finland is super important.
Finland is really important for Saab, and Saab has always been working with Finland a long time, and of course we are the closest partners, and for Sweden and for Saab, Finland is an important country. And actually our company is turning 8 years next year, so we have a celebration coming. But the investments for this kind of really like Finnish research, Finnish development and Finnish products started 8 years ago, and we are in that sense a startup.
Yeah. So in terms of investments and activities in Finland, you recently launched the Sirius Compact system or solution. Can you talk about that and why is it significant?
Well, happy to do that, and would be really a pleasure to go into technical details and spare a couple of hours with you talking about that.
Excellent.
But maybe for the sake of time and for the audience time, which we appreciate, we launched the Sirius Compact 2 years ago, and this is a novel system for tactical electronic warfare.
Right.
Typically tactical, electronic warfare has not been tactical. It's a strategical asset. So we are bringing in a new way to fight electronic warfare into the battlefield. And we received quite good interest on that. And also we have a big order list at the moment. And that's why we also started our own serial production here in Finland. So that's novel technology a little bit changing how electronic warfare is being fought, and now in mass production, and whatever is ongoing.
That is super exciting. Is that something that you're manufacturing all by yourself, or is it taking advantage of the Finnish ecosystem and having spillover effects to Finland as well?
So in our new factory in center of Tampere, we have the the final assembly and testing. The final assembly and the device itself and the manufacturing is really testing heavy, and there are really I would say special tests that need to be conducted. And this is something that we cannot really outsource. So we have built the final assembly line and the testing to our own facilities. But then the electronics, the PCBAs, the mechanics, different kind of components that we have, those we are ordering, and we are getting, I would say, not all, but almost all of our tier one providers are from Finland.
Yeah. Excellent. So defense industry, and this is an example of how the defense industry is picking up economically and from an employment perspective as well. Do you see any bottlenecks in scaling up our capabilities here in Finland?
I think the largest bottleneck for, like, if we talk about Finnish defense industry and scaling up that is the investments.
Right.
We don't really have available funding in Finland on the levels that would help us to do novel and new things. Most of the real investments are coming from abroad. So we are an example of that. We are building up our capabilities with Swedish money. So foreign investment into Finland, which of course is quite a good thing for Finland in general.
Yeah, I'm sure Finns love spending Swedish money.
Yeah, we have done that quite a lot, but I would not maybe say spending. We have invested in technology, but moreover to that, I think it's important we are actually creating Finnish IPR and then export products which we are selling in masses to foreign nations. So we are actually getting money in Finland from our products, and this actually brings me to one of the topics that I have been trying to highlight lately, is that we are, and everyone is talking about the defense expenditure and defense spending and how much we are putting more money in defense. Especially in Finland, we should actually talk about defense earnings.
Right.
Defense is a growing export market where we are selling really high value added, high technology products to foreign countries, and we are getting money into Finland that we can then invest here.
Yeah.
So
that is
defense earnings.
Defense earnings is the new hot topic.
Yeah, thanks to this podcast, everybody will.
Everybody, I'm sure. Speaking of high technology and its significance to Finland, do you see Finland as a test bed for these new emerging technologies like AI, quantum, and the like?
Well, yes, Finland is a really good place to test different kind of things. For example, we have GNSS as a denied environment, thanks to our neighbor, which many countries cannot have. But we also have a really deep tech development in Finland. We are leading in many of these kind of new changing or evolving technologies. Finland is very well known about deep tech capabilities, and because of that, we of course have really good testing facilities and testing capabilities, and we are really, I would say, engineer-minded country. So we like to see how things work and then of course break them so we know why they don't work and we can evolve them. There are also a lot of land area where you can test special kind of things without bothering neighbors. So Finland is a good in that. And now, thanks to being allied country, there's a lot of also foreign armies or soldiers coming into Finland testing new equipment, and we really are a test location and training location.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about defense earnings and new technologies, but I guess that would also apply for dual use technologies, and defense could be an accelerator from that perspective as well. What do you think?
You know, sounds like you are trying to entrap me, because you know that my slogan is that dual use is a legal term which is only for the export control purposes, and it's not supposed to be used in other ways.
It is problematic. I agree.
But of course, I do understand that it's now what everybody's talking on a little bit different different meaning than
Agreed.
that. Again, I would use our technology as an example. We are doing really military specific devices and systems, like so many others also. But we are using technology that is developed, the same technology that is used on civilian products and devices as well. So the technological development, that's, I would say, like a dual use or multi-purpose use, that you can use the same technology for different kind of purposes. And this is how I view the dual use term, as many are using it. And of course, it helps us to develop faster and go into deeper into technology because there are more users for the same technology.
Yeah.
However, for this dual use, I would still like to continue on that whatever you see in the front line, it's militarized.
Yeah, exactly. Even the spoon with which you eat is a dual use technology.
That is true. And yes, we are using like civilian drones that have been developed for civilian market, but they are militarized.
Yeah.
Their comms are militarized, their sensors are militarized, the usage is militarized. So they are military products. They are not civilian products.
Yeah. So earlier you spoke about the ecosystem and investments with Swedish money to Finland. You have a collaboration with Aalto University as well. Can you share some details about that?
Well, yeah, we started the Aalto University almost 10 years ago, and this year we made an amendment to this agreement that we will continue for another 10 years.
Oh, wow, excellent.
So actually at the moment we are now committed for this strategical research collaboration with Aalto University all the way to the end of year 2036. So we still have at least 11 years to go with them to develop new stuff. The investment that we are doing value-wise, it's 30 million euros.
Impressive.
It's a decent number to invest in a university collaboration. We are getting a lot. We have already gained a lot from this university collaboration. So from research to products, we are actually moving quite fast. Already, the technology that has been developed based on the research from this collaboration are in operative use. For example, in Gripen, there's an antenna which is developed based on that research.
Oh, really? Okay.
And some others. Well, of course, the Finnish product Sirius Compact is a good example of that. What we can do here.
Yeah.
And because of the magnitude of the collaboration, it's significant for us. So we are actually, I would say, certain that we will get beneficial results for that because we have so many projects ongoing there. So we can accept that all the projects do not benefit for us, but we are certain that this collaboration will benefit for us. And this is also significant for the university. So Aalto is certain that we will continue this for years so they can strategically plan their use of their best professors, and then the best professors can select their best students for us.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, we have 9 doctors of technology already from this program. 6 of them are the sub payroll today.
Oh, excellent. That worked out nicely for them.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And for Saab as well, obviously.
It is, yeah. We have already received really good results from that, and we see the results of this research already in our products that are in operative use.
Right.
So this is
important point. Yeah.
From research to products
to operative use. That is a great development.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're heavily present in Tampere and in Pirkanmaa, which has become sort of a defense hub for defense industry in many aspects. How do you see the development of Pirkanmaa as a defense hub and its importance to your work?
Yeah, of course, the DD office is in Tampere as well. So that's a hub now.
The main office.
Pirkanmaa and Tampere have been historically long in developing and producing military products. So that kind of heritage is there. Of course, we are not manufacturing cannons anymore, or such. But I don't think that is the most important thing here. Why we are there and why so many other companies are there. Tampere has done, and the whole region, Pirkanmaa region itself, a long strategical work on putting efforts on technology, education, technological education. They have also built the city in that way that modern people want to live in that city. It's safe for your family. Nature is close there. There is a lot of different kind of culture, from theaters to punk bands, and I do follow both of them. Of course, ice hockey is important in Tampere.
It's a good thing you mentioned that.
But it's good. It's good place to live for modern technology-oriented people. So there are this kind of like technology and especially like technology development mindset in the region and in Tampere. And this is benefiting for a lot of companies. There are more than 200 serious, real software companies in Tampere. It's a huge number in any city. It's one of the hubs of microwave RF engineering in Finland. Of course, there are others, but Tampere is one of the main players on that field. So that's why we are there. There is this the availability of skilled people that do the technology that we do. Software engineering, microwave engineering, very special and experienced people are there.
I think that is a fantastic pitch for the Tampere region. I think if you don't get paid already for pitching Tampere, you should, because that is a great commercial.
I have been offered a lunch.
I'll buy you a coffee, because that is spot on. Tampere is a great ecosystem of talent, different types of companies. The university, the city is supporting the industry as well. So there's a defense buzz in Tampere, certainly. There's a lot of different types of skills available in Tampere and in Finland in general as well. But is there something that we're lacking as a nation from a defense industry perspective?
We are lacking ability to jump from tier 06 to tier 07.
Right. Okay, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all?
Yeah. We have everything when it comes to tier 1 to tier 06.
Yeah.
We are leading nation worldwide on that.
Yeah.
And then from 7 to 9, it happens automatically.
Yeah.
Jump from 6 to 7. That's where we should put our efforts on.
So this is a great finding. I would argue that it makes it very concrete where we should focus.
Well, if you think about the tech startups that we have in Finland, how many do you know? 2,000?
Yeah, I personally know thousands of them.
Yeah. And they are on tier 5 or 6, and they have amazing capabilities. They really niche things which are like leading.
Yeah.
Worldwide leading. And then where is this 6 to 7 jump happening?
Yeah, right.
It's in some other place.
Yeah. So I guess that is also something that is hindering us from having a huge impact in the global industry game as well.
That is true, but but then if you think about the really large things that have happened in the world, and you a little bit dig deeper, the deep tech is from Finland.
Yeah. That is a very excellent point and humbling in a way as well.
Yeah, we are making it open source, or then we are selling it to some investor that has the ability to productize the innovation, or invention.
So if we would claim our rightful spot in the global defense industry game and use our imagination a little bit and imagine that it's the year 2035, how do we make sure that Finland is a leading global player in the industry? What should we do? What decisions need to be made?
Yeah, I'm quite certain that we will be an important player, because we really have the deep understanding and deep knowledge why this technology is used, how it's used. Half of our engineers use them in reserve themselves, so they really understand why this is used and what is the actual purpose of this. And this kind of skill set or mindset is not available in any other country. Well, there are few countries, but they're probably not our competitive countries. So this brings us really huge advantage if we compare this to other countries.
Yeah. It's easy to agree. If we think about what would need to be decided, is there a policy or investments that we should be doing to ensure that our position is certain?
Yeah, coming back to this idea that the jump from 6 to 7, that's something that we are lacking. So we should have programs which enable us to demonstrate things better and build the products, and this kind of mindset that we would accept that everything doesn't work. So let's try 10 different innovations and see what leads to that. And accept that 2 of them will be good, and 8 are just something that we learn from.
Yeah.
So they are not in vain. We are also learning from
exactly
what the 2 would be good. So more demonstrations, more prototypes, more demonstrators, and have programs that enable this, especially on the defense field.
Then that is a huge mind shift change for us Finns. We often are allergic to failure, but like you said, it's easy to agree that failure is often the best teacher. So we should be learning.
Yeah, and I don't really see that we have to. It's not a huge mind shift.
Yeah.
We want to see, does this work, and we also get some kind of a pleasure that it's breaking. So let's just do it more, and I'm sure that the tech startups, they are willing to do this, and they want to do this. I'm sure that our end users are willing to do this. They want to do this, and they actually have exercises where they can do this. So we should have some sort of program, maybe with some funding, but at least something that would support this idea that we should test also non-working things.
Yeah, I guess that mindset applies to Europe as a whole, as well, not just Finland, as we're reinventing Europe in a way.
Maybe so.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of talk about unmanned vehicles, especially in Europe now. Do you see that there's certain steps that we could do to ensure Europe's position, especially in this field?
This is something, this technology, but also others, where with everything leads to one really crucial and important thing, really like a strategical technology, is the integrated circuits and chip manufacturing in masses.
Good.
If we want to master any future or now raising technology, whether it's unmanned, different kind of autonomous systems, AI-based things, but also simple electronics, sensors, guidance, communications, all of these are crucial that we will survive, and also included in unmanned vehicles. We need chips.
Yeah.
We have to have control of chips, chip development, chip design. And again, good example now on European level. Where is the deep tech in chip technology? It's in Europe.
Yeah.
We are developing that. But then where is the mass production? It's out of Europe.
It's out of Europe, yeah.
And it's really out of our hands. And now we see that it's used as a political weapon, global political weapon.
It is. Final question here. So there's a lot of investment that needs to be done in the defense industry, in technological autonomy and sovereignty. And chips is one great example. But scaling that capability up really requires a lot of investment. It requires money. It requires people, skills. Do we have enough capability to invest to ramp up all capabilities in defense, in technology, in chips?
Or you mean this in European level?
On a European level, yeah.
Yeah, definitely we don't lack capabilities. We don't lack resources.
Yeah.
We have better resources than anyone. We have more knowledge, more understanding, more deep tech capabilities in Europe than in any other comparable regions. But we are divided.
Yeah.
We don't do European decisions. We don't do European investment. We don't have European technology strategy. There are different kind of white papers on this subject, but we don't do it.
Yeah.
And we cannot do it. Our regulatory environment prohibits us to do that. And now it's coming easier. Like we are talking that, there is less paperwork when we are doing cross-border collaboration. United States, when there are cross-border state collaboration, there's zero paperwork.
Yeah. It's different. a bit different.
Yeah. So that's why we're losing the game. But we don't need to lose it, because we are still better. We have better resources. We have better knowledge. We have more deep tech understanding here. But we should have ability to do this kind of huge investments together.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And of course, the chip manufacturing should happen here in Finland.
In Tampere.
And that's why it doesn't work, because everybody wants it on their front yard.
Yeah. Christian, this concludes our time together. It's been an excellent discussion. Thank you very much for that.
Wow, this was fast and fun. Really,
It was.
really pleasure to be here.
It was so much fun. And thank you to the listener as well. You've been listening to the Digital Defense Ecosystem podcast, where we explore the global security landscape and examine Finnish companies who bring solutions to global security problems. I'll see you in the next episode.